Okay, so let's take a look at how we can navigate within ZBrush. So I'm just going to reset my interface a little bit. So I'm just going to drag these little guys out and just in the open space. So if I just drag this in the open space, it just disappears. And this guy here, what I'm going to do is just double click this bar and it will sort of just go away. Now, to show how to navigate in ZBrush, the default sphere is probably not the best example. So what I'm going to do is load up a different project. I'm going to press the comma key on my keyboard to open up my lightbox. And then I'm just going to double click on this dog. I'm not going to save this project and just wait for that to load. So here's the dog project. One thing to note about when we save projects, as opposed to saving just the tool itself, is that when we save projects, we tend to save the sort of settings that we use. So you probably noticed when I opened up the sphere, the grid wasn't there. But in this dog project, the grid is there because it's turned on, right? So just note that when we save via projects, we do tend to save the settings that we use. In this case, we had the grid on in this dog example. So let's talk about how we can navigate. It's fairly simple, though one of them, which is the zooming in and out, is quite weird. We'll get to that in a sec. So if I just sort of hover over in the open space here, and just left click on, or just tap on my Wacom tablet, I'll just rotate around, which is quite simple. It's quick and easy. I like it a lot. If we wanted to pan, all we need to do is tap in the open space whilst holding down Alt. And this is the tricky one here. So zooming in and out. So what we want to do is we want to hold down Alt, tap on our canvas in the, or our Wacom tablet, sorry, and we want to tap in the open space, release Alt, and drag left and right. So that was Alt, tap in the open space, and release Alt, drag left and right. Now that sounds a little bit crazy, and it does take a little bit of time getting used to, but I promise you, once you do get used to it, it's very quick. It's kind of fun to do as well. So it was tap in the open space and drag around to rotate, Alt, tap in the open space to pan, and then to zoom in is Alt, tap in the open space, drag left and right. Have a bit of a practice. There are different methods for zooming in and out, or not zooming in and out, but for navigating in ZBrush. We could talk about that now. So once you've practiced a little bit, just know that there are other ways to navigate. Some people like to, well, early beginners like to use this little head here. So you can just drag this little head around. Just note that you sort of locked into 45-degree sort of increments. What I find this head is useful for is if I just sort of want to snap to a 45-degree angle and sculpt from these angles, they're quite useful. Though if we're sort of rotating in 3D space, and let's say we're pretty close to the side here, if I hold down Shift, the camera will snap to that view. Likewise, if I sort of go to the top view and the camera is close to the top view and I hold down Shift, it will snap to that view. So I can quickly snap to the front view, the left view, the bottom view, and so on. Right. The other way of navigating is to use the buttons. Right. So on the right toolbar here, just towards the bottom, you have the buttons for navigation. So if I click this move button, I can sort of pan around. The zoom is zoom in and out, and rotate is rotate, right? Just note as well, if you sort of get lost like this, you do have the frame button here in the right toolbar. And just note that the hotkey is F. So I can press frame and it will just frame that current tool, subtool that I have selected. Right. So the other way of navigating is similar to the first way of navigating, except instead of using your left click, you're using the right click. So there's a couple benefits of doing this. So the biggest one is that we're not sort of constrained to if the cursor is on the model or not. So you'll probably find that if you use right click, you can use right click anywhere, even if we have the cursor on the model itself. And you'll find that if I try to rotate and the cursor's on the model, I'll just end up sculpting something. So quite handy for when you're really far zoomed in like this. So let's say I'm really zoomed in and I need to zoom out. I can't do that because I'm always going to be touching the model here. So this is where right clicking becomes quite handy. So I can just press Alt, right click, release Alt, drag left and right to zoom out. Now, not everyone likes the right click alternative. I use it only when I'm really far zoomed in like this. The alternative though, if you don't want to do the right clicking option and you're stuck in this situation here, is to use the margins. So if I just navigated the original way, which is to use left click, but did that within the margins here, ZBrush won't recognize the cursor on top of the model. So I can press Alt, I'm in the margins, so left click, release Alt, drag left and right. So there's another number of ways to navigate in ZBrush. I think just you got to practice, find which way you find is most comfortable. I use a combination of methods. My main method of navigating is just to use the left clicking method, right? Only when I'm too far gone, that's when I'll use my right click. Although to be honest, quite often if I'm too far gone and I need to zoom back out, sometimes it's easier just to press F on the keyboard. That frames everything for you.